AI ML is as good as the data it is trained on. And so one of the critical pieces of talking about AI ML is, do we have the right data and how good the data is? And so that's where, Akamai really can differentiate, because we have billions of data points in app and API security and bot management on a daily basis, right, across thousands of customers.
Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartiya and welcome to TFR Let's Talk. Today we have with us Darshant Bhagat, Senior Director of Product Management at Akamai. Darshant, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Swapnil. Great to be here.
It's my pleasure to talk to you today. And today we are going to talk about the enhancements made to Akamai's app and API protector. But before we talk about these enhancements, I would like to just quickly understand that in the modern world, what is the importance of app and API security, or which one is more important, app security or API security, or you need to focus on both?
I think when we start thinking about kind of apps and APIs, they both form the life and blood of modern enterprises. And depending on the application, APIs, depending on the business, both serve critical functions enabling, customer experience, revenue, for the enterprise itself. So API security is a more newer kind of attack surface area, if you will, right? With more and more microservices, there are more APIs being exposed across the board. And so, and when you think about APIs, we have OAuth's API top 10, which increasingly talk about logic abuses. So think about this as OAuth's top 10 applies to both apps and APIs, but OAuth's top 10 API top 10 is really a lot more about API specific attacks, increasingly more and more about logic abuse.
Excellent, thank you. Now, can you give us an overview of Akamai's app and API protector, what it is and what does it do?
We have a comprehensive set of offerings for all of app and API security, right? And that includes our core product called App and API Protector. But then in addition, we have a lot more, add-ons and specialized solutions for bot management, account protection, and API security, right? So we have one of the most comprehensive API security solution that can be easily integrated and added to our core App and API Protector. So when customers kind of consume and depend on our solution, it's very easy to expand that protection envelope, if you will, across apps and APIs consistently for all of your apps everywhere. Now, coming back to kind of app and API protector, which is our core offering, it's a comprehensive solution that protects against the OAuth's top 10, CVE exploits, distributed application layer DDoS, helps you customers manage noisy and nuisance bots, known as well as unknown, and also helps with API discovery and some foundational API security solution. So App and API Protector becomes that first, line of defense across all of these different attack vectors and threat vectors for our customers.
Excellent, thank you. Now let's talk about the enhancements that you folks announced this week.
We have made significant progress in the latest releases across many different aspects of it. First and foremost, if you see last year, we saw increasingly more distributed and advanced layer 7 or application layer DDoS attacks. So with this release, we have made tremendous progress in enabling our customers to better protect against, very kind of application layer DDoS attacks with short burst windows, which is very high traffic but smaller attacks, short time window attacks, or we also have added specific capabilities on being able to better detect and mitigate highly distributed attacks. So when botnets use thousands of IPs to go and attack a specific website or a customer application, we can now enable that better detection and protection against that. The other piece of this is, we have added smart, what we call URL protection. So this is smartly detecting which traffic is real versus possible, part of a DDoS, and smartly kind of stopping that or dropping the attack traffic without impacting the availability of the origin server or the URL itself. So when you see, attacks sometimes are on the homepage, and so we now have much better ability to protect that homepage itself for our customers. And lastly, we have access to tremendous amount of data across the internet, right? We have one of the largest distributed networks with thousands of customers who trust us every day to provide those protections. And we are now able to curate, so leverage this data, apply our threat research expertise on top of it and ML, and then curate a list of known threat actors, endpoints, such that all of our customers can now take advantage of this threat intel to protect against known DDoS actors, right? So this is detection and mitigation, which can be enabled very quickly and at scale. And this helps our customers better protect against some of these larger DDoS attacks as well. So that's part of the DDoS piece which we've added. The second thing is we have now, we are leveraging ML to better detect browser impersonators. So lots and lots of bots try to impersonate browsers. And one of the things about bot detection is false positives, right? There are a lot more, customers are always worried about false positives and what it would mean for them as far as bot detection is concerned. So we now use advanced ML algorithms with the data we have access to, and are able to reduce false positives, but detect browser impersonating bots much better. So that's part of our AAP core offering. And that significantly will help our customers better manage those foundational nuisance and bots, not highly invasive bots, but foundational nuisance bots. The other pieces that I want to kind of highlight here is with PCI DSS4, right? We have customers who would need to deploy what we call client-side protections and kind of inventory as well as protection, right? So client-side script inventory and protection. And we have added significant enhancements to our product called CPC, which is client-side protection and compliance, to enable our customers be better prepared and meet the auditing requirements for PCI compliance. So this is a critical component of that offering as well, helping our customers continue on their PCI journey and meet the latest and greatest compliance needs. The other piece that I want to kind of highlight is one of the things we hear from customers is, and if you remember Log4j, right? First and foremost question that everybody was asking is, am I protected, or is my app or API exposed to this? And so now we are able to provide information to our customers when they are protected against a specific CVE, and we know that that protection is working and tested. We are able to provide them a positive answer to say, yes, you're protected on these applications. And so this significantly helps them kind of, increase their confidence on which apps are protected versus not, but more importantly, enables them to be focused on which exploits and CVEs should they fix first. So this is, operational efficiency as well as developer efficiency that we help to scale when we can answer that question much better. So that's one of the other things that we have added recently. We have made onboarding onto the Akamai platform extremely simple and serviceable. So now we have customers who can onboard onto the Akamai platform within minutes on their own without necessarily engaging with other professional services experts. So this enables our customers to take advantage of that as well as add new applications. So this is not just about first time onboarding to the Akamai platform, but whenever they need protection for a new application, a new website, this can be done within minutes, self-serviceable. So that's a big plus there. And the last thing is, in terms of our security operations center, we have added what we call advanced SOC support. That's a new type of service which allows our users to get more expanded access to some of our experts. And as you know, cybersecurity kind of expertise is always in high demand and low supply. So we have our cybersecurity experts available to help some of our largest and most demanding customers even better with that SOC support.
Now, can you talk about how the app and API space evolved in the last couple of years? Are there new kind of threats emerging, or same threats are becoming more sophisticated?
Security is always kind of a cat and mouse game, right? Which as more tools and as the technology evolves, the attacks get more comprehensive, complicated, and they evolve as well. So definitely we have seen evolution of attacks. We talked about layer 7 DDoS before, how we have seen more distributed, more larger attacks on application layer, not just the large layer 3, layer 4 DDoS attacks, but also on the application layer. Yes, we've started to see more on the API security. If you've heard, there have been many publicized API security breaches, but a lot of these are related to abusing some of the logic that APIs come with, right? And so we have seen those attacks evolve, and we help our customers protect against those. The bots have also become more smarter. So right, I mean, it's becoming more and more efficient, especially with offensive AI. It's becoming even more cost efficient and increasingly complicated to create and generate new attacks. So as that evolves, our protections will continue to evolve. They already do evolve. We release new protections for some of the things like tens of times a month. So we continue to evolve our algorithms as well as protections as we see those attacks come through. The other thing that I can say about how things have evolved is more and more of the apps and APIs use third-party or open source components. And a lot more of these components expose some of the latent risk because they tend to have, they may have CVEs, right? And you've seen more and more of these being announced over the last couple of years. So that latent risk is increasing for our customers, and we kind of help them protect against those as because we have, one of the largest threat research teams, most experienced, large threat research team, and then a 24/7 SOC. So we are here to help our customers protect against these evolving threats with the latest tools, but backed by the human intelligence from threat research and our security operations sector as well.
If you look at app and API protector, what kind of environment and workloads is it targeting? Is it on-prem, cloud, edge, server side, client side?
Let me say our app and API protector and our application security solutions, right, are targeted for every application everywhere. So whether it's deployed on-prem, in a private cloud, in a public cloud, as a microservice, in a Kubernetes environment, each and every one of these can be protected using our app and API protector, edge WAP solution. And with our API security solution that we just announced last year, right, that API security solution can be integrated with any multiple load balancers, multiple API gateways, and most importantly, it's a click of a button when our customers want to enable it for traffic that's already being protected by our core app and API protector. So with API security, we have really expanded the touch points of where our customers can leverage some of our solutions as well.
And if you look at personas, who is the target audience of app and API protector? Is it developers, DevOps teams, or security teams?
From a core persona, whose our user is still the security operations person, right? Uh, but what we have been doing, as you rightly pointed out, there is increasingly more and more interactions between the developers and the security team. So the DevSecOps kind of phenomena is certainly here. It's here to stay. And so there are multiple ways of enabling the DevSecOps phenomena to be more efficient and more more impactful. And that ranges from ensuring that when you have some of the code testing done, so whether you're doing we have API security capabilities, testing capabilities, or the traditional more SAST and DAST things for applications, the ability to take that information and make efficient decisions on the protections is one part, right? Which is important to make that developer more efficient, right? Give them the right tools. The second part of this is about supporting a lot of the automations. So with all of our solutions come with open APIs and Terraform providers. And so a lot of our customers and developers who want to be agile and deploy new apps and new APIs, our security operations teams can create standardized templates, put it as part of the infrastructure as code, modules, and leverage it so that developers don't have to worry about whether their app and API is secure because they're leveraging the standard template. And then lastly, there's always this feedback mechanism. You mentioned API security, right? There's an ability to say when you detect, let's say, logic abuses or other attacks, we have the ability to now send alerts in, let's say, for example, Slack. So this is when a lot of our developers work. And so enabling those interactions to take the information where developers are working is another piece of making that collaboration go better in DevSecOps. So there are all these aspects that have to come together when we start thinking about comprehensive app and API security and how security teams can better enable developers to be the best, most efficient version of themselves.
Let's talk about where are we heading when it comes to app and API security when we look at these emerging new workloads or even the emergence of generative AI.
As these things get more complicated, you mentioned how the application architecture is evolving. With more AI workloads, lots and lots more of data exchanges are happening. We have heard things about, OAP's top 10 for LLMs. That's one part of it. But there's many things about, security for AI workloads, application security for AI workloads. So I do see things evolve in that aspect. And what it means is that app and API security would be a core component of any workload, no matter where it is running, no matter where it's deployed, no matter in what architecture it is deployed. So I do expect that every workload has that core component of app and API security needs.
I also want to talk a bit about the work that Akamai's teams, security teams, do behind the scene, all the research to not only understand these threats, but also evolve the solutions accordingly.
There are aspects of app and API security, right, which is the tool and the product itself. But what makes the product more impactful is, I refer to this as human intelligence, right? It's not just about the tool, but how it's backed by, a very robust threat research team, a 24/7 SOC, because not all customers can do everything by themselves. And then lastly, how ML is impactful. And as you know, AI ML is as good as the data it is trained on. And so one of the critical pieces of talking about AI ML is, do we have the right data and how good the data is? And so that's where, Akamai really, really can differentiate, because we have billions of data points in app and API security and bot management on a daily basis, right, across thousands of customers. And so by leveraging that data, running our data science expertise on it, and developing ML models, but then kind of enhancing it even further with our threat research expertise. That's what makes the difference in being impactful and effective. So I wanted to kind of highlight that part about how all of these things come together for a more simple and effective solution for app and API security.
I also want to talk about the role of culture in terms of app and API security. While in old days, security was seen as someone else's problem, it was a kind of showstopper. Developers didn't want to talk to security teams because they feared that security teams may stop them, they may, slow down the progress. But in the modern world, things have changed. Security has kind of become a priority with the whole shift left movement. Security is moving developers' pipeline. I feel that security nowadays is like an enabler for innovation because with proper guardrails in place, developers are free to innovate because they know that there are protections in place. They don't have to worry about security teams blocking their work at some later stage due to some issues. So talk about that aspect, and if you can also talk a bit about how Akamai is or can be seen as an enabler through these suites and solutions that you're offering.
In all of my conversations with customers, CISOs, etc., it's that the culture of cybersecurity is well understood and emphasized. Right? It's important. It's core to any modern digital enterprise. So I think the importance of cybersecurity and the investment needed in cybersecurity is never the question. I think internally, I haven't heard much about, a few years ago, you would hear security is, a gatekeeper and not necessarily an enabler, right? And more, I hear security as the enabler of more, safe business and safe commerce than anything else. So I think the culture's been evolving and changing to be more collaborative across the board, to say security is a priority to run a more trusted, scalable, efficient business, digital business anywhere.
Darshant, thank you so much for taking time out today and talk about app and API security offerings from Akamai, and also some great insights on the whole market, the evolving landscape of app and API security. Thanks for all those great insights, and I would love to chat with you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swapnil, for having me.